Speaking of which, the man himself.
No.
Hello,
Somebody else faking. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Outstanding.
Good. So I will begin the call. All right. So welcome everyone to the Friends and Family Training, our Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time training with Dr. Jahner. This is week 3 of our program, and I am just going to turn this over to you, Dr. Ron. Take it away.
But I haven't finished the script. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. Hopefully you had fun with the exercises from last week. So for any that are listening to now or the recording, again, the ground rules are, this is a friends and family call. So it's not specifically to sell you anything or get you involved in anything. It's all about mutual coaching. And coaching is not therapy. We have a couple of great doctors that are usually on the call. And if you need medical therapy, they're excellent. Dr. Rockwood, Dr. Harbowski. But therapy is about an expert either doing something for you or telling you what to do. And there's a place for that. If your car is broken and you don't know how to fix it, you need an expert. It's not really education either, although education is where we start most of the calls, because education is about, again, about an expert telling you what the right answer is. So we do have a certain amount of education with these calls to start, but this is a little different. It's not me telling you what to do. Education for coaching is laying out some framework so that our minds can do the one thing. There's only one thing our minds are good for in this type of work, and that's to make choices. And so coaching is not about an expert telling you about you. Coaching is about facilitating each other to get clarity of vision about ourselves. And that usually involves setting a framework or a perspective that allows us to ask better questions. In fact, we use a totally different type of question in coaching than in most other things that we've done in the education, in our educations. But it's to ask better questions that'll allow us to see possibilities about ourselves that maybe we hadn't seen before, and then make better choices from those possibilities. And here's the key: to empower and motivate ourselves to act on those choices. Because coaching starts from a different place that therapy and education does. Therapy starts with the idea there's something wrong with you and you need an expert to fix it or to help you fix it. Education, you don't know something and we've got to tell you what it is, again, from an expert. Coaching is different. Coaching starts with a very, very unique assumption that most of us have probably never heard before in our lives. Coaching, instead of asking what's wrong with you, asks what's right about you you're not getting. Coaching starts from the assumption that there's nothing wrong with you. And there's only one real expert in the world about you. Guess who that might be? That's right, it's you. So asking someone else to make choices for you, how are they going to do that when they're not an expert on you? You're the only expert on you. And so the only thing that coaching is there to facilitate for us is clarity of vision. Think of times in your life when you really know you wanted something and you were sure that was the thing. It might have been a person, it might have been a pet, anything. But whatever it was, once you knew that that was your goal, that was your purpose, that was your mission, could anything stand in your way? Did you let anything bother you until you achieved that goal or changed it to a different one? So once we have clarity of vision, and the only person that can really facilitate to give us that is ourselves, because our choices are going to be different than other people's choices. Our lives have been different than other people's lives. Every one of us is unique. In fact, according to the geneticists, the odds of another person being born with your exact configuration of DNA, even if you're a twin, is about 1 in 57 billion. Well, as far as we can tell, there probably haven't been that many people alive in the history of modern man. So that means you're unique. You're special just because you're you. And coaching starts from that premise. You're special, you matter just because you exist. And when you go through this type of coaching process, you not only facilitate becoming the best of you that you can be, but that makes our families stronger and better. It makes our community stronger and better. It makes the world stronger and better because we can't replace you. You're the only one. And you being the best you you're capable of being, me being the best me I can be, means that the world's a better place to live in, because we each bring unique gifts to our lives that no one else can do just like we do it. See? So we started with some exercises the last couple of weeks. The first one was to expand our horizons and begin that process of expanding our awareness of possibilities that maybe we never thought of before. But mostly it was about just getting a better awareness of who we are and what's important to us. So we started out with an exercise where if you had more money than you could spend and perfect health and years to live, what would you be doing with your life? And in that particular exercise, you're not trying to narrow it down to one, it's just exploring everything that sounds exciting to you. Would you build schools? Would you feed people? Would you build houses for homeless people? What would you be doing if you had no limitations? Who are you? What are you? When are you? And notice I'm not asking why. Okay? Now, why is important, but in the beginning, it's not where we start for two reasons. One, before we've expanded our horizons and we're aware of more possibilities, when someone asks us why, what do we do mentally? We go back to the past and we try to figure out what went wrong and how did it go wrong and how do I fix it? Well, we already said that's the opposite of coaching. So in the beginning, why is a distraction. Later on, hopefully within the next week or two, we're going to explore what why really is. And guess what? There's only one why. No matter who you are or what your situation, the why will always be the same. So we really don't need to worry about it too much. We just need to be aware of it. Okay? So then last week we changed the exercise up a little. We still want to do that exploration exercise because it's amazing for expanding awareness. But last week we started making 3 lists. The A list was what we want out of life. And just to notice as we write those things down, how much we want them. How do they compare emotionally? And then our second list, our B list, was what do we really want? Can you narrow that down just a little bit to what's really important to you? And then finally, we get to that very special C list. What do you really, really want? What do you really choose? If you had to start somewhere, where would it be? Okay. So would anybody like to volunteer how they did with these exercises? Any impressions? Did the list change as the week went along? What awarenesses did you get of yourself? Michelle?
Yeah, it hit me pretty hard. I don't remember what day it was, but I got to what I really, really want, and it was just so, it was so obvious that I just giggled because I'm like,
Wonderful.
Are you kidding me? So, you know, the biggest thing I want time freedom with Dale. And he lives for his job because of the whole worry about the future money thing. But if you have all the money you need, and I just want to have time freedom with him. And the bigger piece is just that peace, love, and joy and well-being. It's just so freaking simple.
Exactly. And that's amazing. That's awesome because that's what we usually find when we do this. And along with it, you also brought out the next step. Why do you want it? Why do you want more time with him?
Because he's my best friend.
And why is he your best friend?
Because with him I have peace, love, and joy.
There you go.
And you know what's crazy? I worked so hard on this exercise. I have sheets of paper. Sheets.
That's the whole point of it.
Oh my gosh. And I just guess I couldn't have gotten there without it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing because we're trained in this reality to work from our heads and figure everything out and figure all the angles. And then there are some basic, what I call lies that we're taught in this reality. And one of the biggest one is that there's this long list of things we have to do before we get to the why. And what did you say your why was again? What is it you're looking to get out of all this?
Peace, love, and joy, well-being.
Yeah. And now how many things do you actually have to do to get peace, love, and joy? Do you have to work for 50 years and retire to an island somewhere and then you get to have love, peace, and joy?
No, you just have to be.
Choose it. Yeah, you just got to choose it now because you can have all of that and you don't have to go anywhere.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but we all know, we've all experienced it before because we may not like who when we came out, but when we were in the womb, man, we were at peace, love, and joy.
That's right. That's part of my grizzly bears and 2-year-olds. And that actually is the 5th pillar of childhood. Children know how to play and have fun. We've mentioned it before. What's the purpose of life? And as adults, we've got long lists. We just made a bunch of them. But when we get right down to it, what's the purpose of our life? What's the why of life?
Have fun.
Have fun, love, joy, peace. Share it with other people. You see? And notice that these are feelings. Now, they're more than feelings. Feelings are kind of come and go, but love, joy, peace, from the way I look at it, are more like feel states. They're states of being, like you said. And so those are things that are always there, but we're not always paying attention to them, you see. And so coaching, clarity and creativity coaching is about being aware of who we really are, what's really important to us. And then how can we use that as a touchstone to create that reality, that awareness more often in our life, you see? So here's a question for you. Is there ever a time, no matter how busy you get, no matter how stressed you get, is there ever a time, even when you're upset with him, that you don't have love and joy in your relationship?
Even when I'm upset with him?
Yeah. Do you still love him? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm joyfully ready to kill him, sure, but.
Absolutely. And that's part of the deal. That's a feeling that comes and goes. But the core joy, like even when we're really upset and stressed, maybe it's about money or health or somebody else that we care about, do we actually in reality quit loving beautiful sunsets?
No.
No, it's still there, but we're just not paying attention to it, you see. Now, this isn't about religion, but there are concepts that from ancient writings that fit into this, because this has been the core of spiritual teaching throughout man's history. But there's a phrase most of us have heard about going through life walking hand in hand with God. Now, as a child, if you're walking hand in hand with your parent, or even if you're just out playing at the park and they're there, are you thinking about them every single second while you're playing? But is there ever a moment that you're not aware that they're there? No. And if you get upset or you fall or whatever, you watch children, they'll fall down and then their head pokes up to see if mommy's there. And if she is, they cry to get her to come over and comfort them. If mommy's not there, oh, well, they get up and go back to playing. You see? But the awareness is there. So what if we could find a way to be aware of that love and joy and happiness all the time? You see? And that's what clarity and creativity coaching is about, is because it's not about changing us or someone else telling us what to do. It's just being aware of who we really are and being more aware of it. because that's where our strength comes from. Okay? So we're going to do one more thing tonight with our list, and we can continue to work with these. You can go months working on these lists. Okay? And just being aware of what's important, how important is it, and then when you get to the why, it's not about why haven't I done it? Why isn't it working? It's just about why is that important to me? And what you're going to find, and we all tend to find, is that the things that are precious to us are precious for exactly what Michelle said. They're a source of love and joy and peace. You see? Okay? So we're going to do one more step. Take your C list and look at it. Now, I don't know how many things you got. Hopefully it's not 7 pages long. That gets a little overwhelming. But this is like your core bucket list. And these are the things that you really, really, really would like to do. Okay? Pick one. Now, Michelle had one. Anybody else want? And you don't have to share what it is, but does everybody have one thing? Okay? One thing, and it doesn't mean you can't do all of them or whichever ones you want on any given day, but for the purpose of coaching, remember we said one of the basic tenets of coaching is that it's a journey of 10,000 steps, one step at a time. So one of the core principles of coaching, the first one we already talked about, is it's not about me telling you what to do or anybody else telling you what to do. It's about you choosing for yourself. That's the difference between coaching and all other forms of therapy and teaching, even mentoring. But this other thing is that you only do one step at a time. And you know what? What's really cool about it, it doesn't matter how big the step is, but it has to be one step. And it can be a baby step. But just the fact that you take that step and accomplish it sets up a whole different situation for where the next step is going to be. It's like walking across a valley or a canyon with a forest and rocks and all kinds of obstacles. You're not going to close your eyes and run in a straight line. You take one step, watch where you step, and then you look to see where the next step is. Or think of a mountain climber. One move, and then they plan the next move. That's the way this works. So just pick one thing out of your list that you would really, really like to accomplish in your life. It might be managing your weight, but it doesn't have to be something big like that. But what's one thing that you know you'd really like to accomplish in life, and it's doable, but you just haven't been able to do it yet, or maybe not to the extent you would have liked. Now, when you look at that thing, put it on a clean piece of paper, just write that one thing down, and then we're going to put 2 small lists under it, branching to the left and branching to the right, okay? And under one side, we're going to write 3 things that you know that if you just did one of these things, it would be a contribution to that goal. Just 3 things. I mean, and here again, you're the expert on you. What's really interesting about coaching, if you go to Dr. Rockwood to get nutrition, she'll probably tell you things you didn't know. But in coaching, you already know. You might think you don't, but you do. You're the expert on you. You already know. You already know 3 things that you could be doing in your life that you probably may not be doing now or not doing consistently. And if you just picked one of them and did them consistently, your life would be better. It could be brushing your teeth every day. It could be going for a walk. It could be drinking more water. Doesn't matter. You're the only one that knows what these 3 things are. What are 3 things that if you did any one of them on a daily basis, you'd be that much closer. You'd be one step closer to that goal that you really, really want, okay? And then on the other side, you're going to write 3 things. And if I would just quit doing any one of those, I'd be functioning a lot better. Might be watching too much television. It might be, who knows? But you know. I don't. Well, I know what my 3 and 3 are. But these are yours. 3 things. If you picked one of them, and you just did that every day, your life would be better and you'd be that much closer to your goal. And 3 things that if any one of them you would just cut out, like smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, maybe cut it down to 2. But whatever it is, maybe a little less sugar, But whatever it is, you know what the 3 things are. You already know that there's things you'd like to be doing or not doing that would make your life better, okay? Okay, you got your list? All right, out of the 6 things, pick 1. And I don't care whether it's something you're going to do or something you're not going to do. Just pick 1. Remember, we only do 1 at a time. And for the next week, we're going to work on that 1, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Okay? Everybody got 1 thing that they're either going to work on not doing or doing. It's your choice. Your life, your choice. Okay? All right. Now, we get back to the fundamentals of why coaching, especially this kind of coaching, is different from teaching and therapy. Okay? If you're going to change something about what your body does, you got 2 things. You got to change the subconscious behavior patterns, which are all memorized patterns. You're not, if you already know this is something you should be doing or would choose to do or not do, why aren't you doing it? You know, hopefully this isn't something too terribly difficult. So why aren't you doing it? Why when you tell yourself to do it or not do it, you don't listen to yourself? Because the body doesn't understand words. Body doesn't understand concepts. The body doesn't understand ideas. The language of the body is feelings and emotions. We said 3 things last week, and you want to take note of these, because knowing these, having them at your fingertips will always let you know what you can do to change a behavior patterns. Feelings and emotions, number 1. Number 2, symptoms, sensations, and behaviors. And number 3, any reaction to sensory input. That can be seeing a picture in your head or on television. That can be a smell. That's why essential oils are so valuable. It can be a touch. It can be something you hear. How many of us react emotionally to music? How many of us have a favorite type of music and we always feel a certain way when we hear it? And how many of us have a certain type of music that just grates on our nerves, and how can those people even stand that? See? And those are all reacting in your body. So if we're going to change a behavior in the body, we're going to have to figure out how to talk to it in one or more of these ways. And then the other thing is, while our mind can learn a fact and then know it, the body doesn't do that. The body has to have repetition to create a new behavior pattern. So we got to talk in a language the body understands, and then we're going to have to be consistent with it over a period of time for the body to accept it as something new, which would be a habit. Or maybe even a compulsive behavior. But if it's a beneficial compulsive behavior, that's fine. Brushing your teeth every morning and missing it if you don't, it's a compulsive behavior, but it's a very good one for you. Exercising 30, 40 minutes a day. Those are all, the body's designed to work off of compulsive behaviors that you don't have to think about. The only issue comes in when we have compulsive behaviors that don't work for us. And that's probably, if you look at the 6 things you wrote down, how many of them are you doing on purpose? How many of us wake up in the morning and say, let's see, how many things can I do today to make myself miserable? How many things can I do that are going to create a situation where I feel worse than I do now? And I absolutely can never achieve anything. We don't do that. And yet still we do these things. Why? Because they have nothing to do with your thinking. We've had decades and decades of positive thinking and talk therapy. And I'm not saying it's worthless. I'm just saying it's inefficient because it's not talking to the part of the body that actually runs these behaviors. All right. So we're going to start and build off of what we did last week, which is feelings. Okay. Instead of what you think doesn't matter, but what you feel does. So look at that one thing that you know that if you do it or don't do it consistently, your life is going to be better. And picture yourself doing or not doing it. And what does that feel like? And I didn't ask, what do you think about it? We all think it's a good idea. But does the body understand good ideas? If it did, we'd already be doing it or not doing it. So there's got to be a feeling in there somewhere that's not consistent with our thinking. Clarity and creativity coaching and the facilitation of it is all about where are those places in your nervous system where your head's thinking one thing and your body's saying, oh no, not me. Now we know what that feels like when somebody asks us to do something we don't want to do. We say, oh, of course, I'll be happy to do that. And our guts are saying, no. That's what we're looking for. So when you look at that one thing that you know would make your life better, doing it or not doing it, what do you really feel about it? And if it's a little bit of a challenge, use the picture, the sensory thing. See yourself doing it or not doing it, and what's that feel like? Anybody want to volunteer to practice? Remember, coaching is about participation.
I will. And until I took a deep breath, I was uncomfortable.
Cool. Exactly. All right. So now go back and look, see yourself doing or not doing it. Is it something you do or don't do, or you're not going to do?
It's something I'm going to do.
Okay. So picture yourself doing it. And what's that feel like now?
My shoulders went down.
There you go. So then do your breath, take a deep breath, pause, focus on something you're grateful for, and exhale slowly.
Thank you.
Smile, say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now go back, picture yourself doing it, and what's it feel like now? What kind of a reaction does your body have to it?
It almost feels like I already do it.
Yeah, cool.
It's crazy.
And so what kind of a feeling is that?
Good feeling.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then you do the exact same process on good feelings as uncomfortable feelings. So take another deep, as soon as you notice that's the feeling, take a deep breath, pause, switch to something you're grateful for, exhale slowly, pause, smile, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now go back, see yourself doing it, and what's it feel like?
It's the word is feel. I'm not thinking at all. I'm feeling.
That's right. That's right. Stinking thinking. Thinking doesn't help you with this.
That's abundantly clear right now. Like I feel it in my sensories.
Yeah, yeah. Most of us, just as a hint, have got a focal point on the front of our body for stress or tension. It can be the throat, the solar plexus, the stomach, but there's usually a spot that we all know what that knot in our stomach feels like, or like there's a fist there. Okay. And so sometimes when you're kind of trying to be aware of what the body's real reaction is, just go straight to one of those centers, wherever it is that you normally notice when you're upset or you're nervous.
My throat.
Yeah. And what's it feel like right now?
Wide open.
Cool. So then as soon as you notice that, take a deep breath. Pause, exhale gratefully. Smile and say thank you.
Thank you.
Good. And now see yourself doing that activity again. What's it feel like?
I'm excited.
Yeah. And notice how it's shifting. You see?
That's
And
crazy.
that's why, yeah, go ahead.
That's crazy because I spent all day today thinking about why I wasn't doing what I was going to.
Exactly. And you'll think and think and think and think, and we spin and we stay awake half the night worrying about it or trying to figure it out. it doesn't do anything. It actually blocks the mechanisms that would allow it to change.
Huh.
This is one of the most powerful things, and there's a lot of different ways to get there. We're starting with one that's fairly simple, but there's some reasons for that, because it helps us to really focus on the transition. It explains some of how this works. But the real bonus you're going to get with this particular transitional gratitude breathing thing that I created is that every single part of it works. It's actually about 6 or 7 different tools all put into one. And we haven't even got to the most powerful part yet, which we'll add next week.
I can't believe the stress it's taken away.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
It's insane.
And all the years we spend trying to change this stuff. Now, the trick is, are you willing, as a creative, intelligent person who hates to be bored, to do this enough that your body starts doing it for you? And that's where the real challenge comes in for people like us. Because, yeah, we do it once or twice and it feels great. But that's because we're focusing and choosing to do it. But that's not the body doing it on its own. That's the body following your lead. See? So, for example, some of us are married. When you got married, how long was the marriage supposed to be for? What did you say? Weekend, couple of months, what?
Well, you're the one that's married.
So when you go into a committed relationship, how long do you project that it's going to last? What are you going into it? What's your intent when you start?
Forever.
Forever, yeah, or at least the next few weeks at least. But yet that's a mind concept, right? That was your choice in your mind. This is what I want to happen. How long did your body commit for?
Never thought about it.
Yeah. The body will only commit for 6 to 10 seconds. And then it'll go back to doing what it's always done. So even when it's a beneficial shift, how big of an adjustment is it to start living with another person when you've been on your own for a while, or maybe with somebody else?
Oh, that was a big one.
Uh-huh. See, mentally, you know that's where you want to be. You're in love. But does your body understand that?
Hell no.
Hell no.
6 to 8 seconds?
Yeah, 6 to 8 seconds. So we actually teach in certain forms of this coaching that you live your life. If you want to change something in your behaviors, you have to live your life in 6 to 10 second intervals. And most of us can't, they actually did some research recently that the average attention span has been going down for quite a while. Okay, like 3 minutes in the MTV generation. They're now saying that the average human has an attention span, because of all the videos and cell phones and everything, less than a goldfish. It's measured in seconds before you want to jump to something else. If you're on Facebook, how long do you really stay? How comfortable are you watching a 10-minute video or even a 3-minute video? I hate watching videos. Give me something I can read in 10 seconds and get on to the next thing. You see?
Wow.
So if you want to change your body, you've got to choose. The only thing you can do with your mind that directly affects your body is making a choice.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then the difference between emotions are a choice. Emotions are different than feelings.
For the purposes of where we're at now, it's pretty much all the same thing. But eventually you begin to see differences with feelings, emotions, and in particular, the things we call emotions that really aren't, which would be like love, joy, peace. Those are more than just a passing feeling. The more you do this work, and don't take my word for any of this, you're the expert on you. But an interesting phenomena that tens of thousands of people have noticed doing this type of work is that the more they do it, the more they become aware that the love, joy, and peace is always there. Whereas feelings and emotions come and go. They're like the breeze or waves in the ocean. See? But the states of being never change, but most of us have never sat with them long enough to know that that's who we really are. And you can't tell yourself. We can all read a poem or read some book on some type of teaching, and oh yeah, that makes sense. But that's not being it. See? So feelings and emotions, remember, energy and motion. Feelings and emotions are primarily motivators. They're there to tell you to do something or get your body to do something. And your body appears to be using feelings and emotions as the icons or tags or file folder labels for behaviors, memorized behaviors. So every time you feel a certain way, if you're not choosing to act differently, your body's just going to run the program you've always run.
So then if the premise as, you know, the pain of not changing has to be the pain greater than the pain of change.
That's one way to look at it. What about the other flip side?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Then why the heck isn't it just the opposite way?
Because we don't choose that. We live in a reality that where there are two primary motivators, and the one that we gravitate to is pain. That's our cultural bias. But why couldn't we use joy?
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm making.
And so that's part of the coaching process is where's the ease, joy, and glory? Where's the happiness? That's why we started here today. That's where I was leading you with this one. Is like, okay, why do you want that stuff? What's important to you? You know? It's like a kid trying to figure out what they want to study in college. Well, what do you want to study? I don't know. Maybe I'll be a lawyer. Why do you want to be a lawyer? Well, because lawyers are smart and they make a lot of money. Okay, why do you want to make a lot of money? So I can have a good life, get stuff I want. Well, why is that important to you? Well, because I want to have a spouse and a family, and I want to be able to take care of them. Okay, what's so important about that? Well, it makes life easier, and okay, what's so good about having an easier life? And if you keep going and just keep asking, sooner or later, what's the answer you're going to get?
Peace, love, and joy.
Peace, love, joy. I just want to be happy. Okay, so then you turn it around and say, well, what's stopping you from being happy right now? And if this really is your basic state, all that's stopping you is a choice. We choose from moment to moment to focus on what's painful, because that's how we're trained in this culture. We have a culture of what's wrong, how am I going to fix it?
Why?
That is another discussion around over a table full of margaritas.
I'm in.
All right, but here's the thing. Remember I said we rarely ask why. All we're doing with the why today is establishing that there really is only one why. I just want to be happy. I want to have fun and be happy. Okay? And I want the people I care about to have fun and be happy. The only thing is with people like we're on this call, that means just about everybody on earth. See? So once you establish that, then do we really have to, while it can be a lot of fun to have that discussion, more fun with the picture of margaritas, however, does it matter to you being aware of your love, joy, and peace in this moment? And that was that pitfall I mentioned at the beginning. If we're asking why so we can go back and figure it out, there's nothing wrong with that, except it's not going to change your behaviors. Figuring something out is not in the part of the neurology that controls behavior. It's in the part of the neurology of the mind that tells stories and loves to figure out stories and talk about stories. Nothing wrong with that. And it can serve some beneficial purposes. But it's not changing your behavior. And it's not going to make you happy now trying to figure out why you weren't happy. Because happiness is perceived through the body. And the body isn't hearing any of this. It's just a bunch of background noise. And how do we talk to the body? If we're going to change something about our body's perspective or behavior, how do we have to talk to it? Feelings and emotions, body sensations, symptoms, or behaviors, and any reaction to sensory input. Okay? Because your body can't tell the difference. That's why we tell people, don't watch anything on television or don't go to a movie that you don't want to actually live through. Because your body will. Your body can't tell it's a movie. Your mind knows it's a movie. But just because your mind knows that it's a movie, what does your body do if you go to a horror show? It gets all worked up and you cry, or you go to a tearjerker, right? Because your body can't tell the difference.
I've always said that I can't distinguish if it's a movie, if it's real or not real. That's why I got to be really careful.
Right. So if you want to change how you feel or what's going on in your behavior right now, then we're just going to have to go right to that language that the body understands. And talking about it or trying to figure out the why of it is entertaining, but it won't change anything. Okay?
Yeah.
So look at whatever the issue is, whether it's one of these, the behavior we've chosen to work on for the next week, or to avoid or to do more of. And instead of trying to figure out why we've never done it or why we do it, who cares? When does your body live?
Now.
Your body doesn't really get what happened yesterday or the day before or when you were a little kid. It's just living right now. So you better talk to it now. And now is, how do you feel about it right now? Go back to the what you had chosen to do. And now notice, how do you feel about it right now if you picture yourself doing it?
Like I've already done it.
Yeah. And what does that feel like?
Good.
Okay. Is it okay to feel that good?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What's your body say?
Yes.
Check that knot in your throat or your stomach.
That's what I'm checking. I'm not allowing myself
to. Good. All right, great. And if you were to feel even better than you do now, would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Take a deep breath. Focus on something you're grateful for and exhale slowly. Smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. And now how's it feel?
Even better.
Good. Interesting, huh? And that's the other difference between emotions, feelings, and what I call the feel states of being, love, joy, peace. How big is, let's say you get angry at somebody, and I don't care how angry you are. Is the anger unlimited? Or does it eventually burn out?
Burns out.
It burns out. But if you genuinely are a loving person, where's the limit on that?
Small.
Love, joy, and peace. Where's the point where it's unacceptable to have any more of it than you have now?
Oh, no.
No, see, these are things that are infinite. And that's the biggest difference. When you're dealing with a feeling or an emotion, it's transient. It might not seem like it at the time, but it is. But when you get to the love, joy, and peace, it's never ending. And the more aware of that you become, which is why we actually say that doing the processes on your good feelings is more important than the bad ones. The bad ones, you'll feel better almost instantly, like you did tonight. But the good ones, where is your limit? Guess what? You've probably never experienced it.
Is that outside circle you talk about?
That's right. That's what I don't know. And if the body has to run on memorized behavior, there is a point where you'll be looking at feeling better and better, and your body will absolutely recoil. And it'll stop. You'll get really uncomfortable. Usually we just get distracted and quit doing the exercise. But if you're in a facilitation session and you really push it, you will get to the point, everybody does, where they get really uncomfortable. And it's because your body doesn't know what to do with that. It only knows what to do with things it's already experienced. You go to a level of love, joy, peace that you've never done before, and there will be places in your body that are saying, "Oh my God, I'm not ready for this."
But correct me if I'm wrong. I've been taught that we all can experience peace, love, and joy because we've had it in the womb. There's been no better gift. I mean, the only thing we had there was God's love.
Yeah, and that's a great concept, and it's probably true for some people. But how many people are in a peaceful, kind, compassionate environment even when they're in the womb? In the cultures we're dealing with now. See, how many unborn children are in families where the parents are screaming at each other, or they're worried about things or whatever, and I mean, the research is clear. Kids are affected by that. Okay, so ideally, you're right. It's in there somewhere, but what happens is in that probably the last half of the pregnancy and the first 5-6 years of life, if you have traumatic events going on around you, it gets overladen. It's in there, and that's why with this work, we're going in to find it and make sure that connection is reestablished. But for most of us, how many times a day do you go to that place? And is that where you naturally go when you get stressed?
No.
No, because that's not how we're taught. We're taught when you're stressed, you have to react with fight or flight to fix it. And that destroys our bodies because there are very, very few stresses that we face in daily life anymore that can be resolved with fighting and running away. So it takes a different software program, it takes a different way of response, but it's got to be trained into the body. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at the 3 things that we would choose not to do if we could, or 3 things that we would do, and we're only going to pick one of them. What's one thing that if you did or didn't do it on a daily basis, and just as a hint, pick something easy, like brushing your teeth or, getting up at a certain time, whatever. Don't try to change the world on your first step. Okay? This is about teaching the body the process. This is how we change things. And we change it the way you teach a little baby to walk. Do you scream and holler at them and whoop them if they fall? No, it's all about love and kindness and being encouraging. So can you treat your body? That's where the grizzly bear and 2-year-old thing comes in. Everything about why our bodies break down has to do with the stress of fight or flight, chased by the grizzly bear. But everything about fixing it is about reprogramming what we should have gotten as children or that we've forgotten. So as you work with this one thing for the next week, every time you think about it or notice it or go to do it or not do it, suspend your thoughts about it and just notice how it feels. And then do your breath. And then no matter what happens, whether you do it or don't do it, can you be as encouraging to your body as you would be to a small child that was trying to learn to walk? Okay. Are there any questions about what we're working on this week? Okay. Have fun, and we'll do it again next week. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.